Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and before we jump into today's fiery update, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this video so more people can stay informed. Today's story is one that's stirring intense debate and sending waves through South Africa's streets: the dramatic release of the so-called Diepkloof Three, Operation Dudula members who were arrested in connection with recent protests, and their defiant message to the authorities: stop the arrests or face an even bigger fight. This is not just a story about three individuals walking free, it's about a movement feeling cornered, a government under pressure, and a community divided over what justice really looks like. The Diepkloof Three were arrested during a tense Operation Dudula action in Soweto, where members were allegedly targeting undocumented foreign nationals and pressuring local businesses to hire South Africans first. Police swooped in during the chaos, accusing the three of public violence, intimidation, and incitement. Their arrest quickly became a rallying point for Dudula supporters, who gathered outside the police station chanting their names, demanding their immediate release, and calling the charges politically motivated. For days, social media was flooded with images of the three in court, flanked by supporters wearing green and black Dudula regalia, raising fists in solidarity. The group's leadership insisted that the arrests were an attempt to silence the movement and frame them as criminals, rather than community activists standing up for local rights. And yesterday, when the court granted them bail, the reaction was nothing short of explosive. Crowds cheered, vuvuzelas blared, and the streets around Diepkloof came alive with song and dance, as the movement celebrated what they saw as a victory against political oppression. But the real headline came not from the legal outcome, but from the fiery speeches made after their release. Standing before the crowd, the Diepkloof Three wasted no time in sending a warning to authorities. "Stop arresting our people for standing up for South Africans," one of them declared, voice echoing over loudspeakers. "You can lock us up, but you can't stop the truth. We are not criminals. We are patriots. And we will not stop until South Africans are put first in their own country." The crowd roared back in approval, waving Dudula flags and chanting slogans that have become synonymous with the movement's campaigns. The speeches quickly turned into a rally, with Operation Dudula leaders using the moment to reinforce their demands: stricter border control, prioritization of South Africans in jobs, and an end to what they call government appeasement of foreign nationals. They accused the state of protecting undocumented immigrants while ignoring the struggles of citizens living in poverty and battling unemployment. The message was clear: the arrests had only fueled their determination. Police, however, maintain that no one is above the law, and that Operation Dudula's methods often cross the line into vigilantism. Law enforcement sources insist that the Diepkloof Three were not arrested for their beliefs, but for specific actions that allegedly broke the law. They warn that future protests which turn confrontational will be met with arrests, regardless of who is involved. The public reaction to this unfolding drama is split down the middle. For Dudula supporters, the release of the Diepkloof Three is proof that the justice system recognizes they are being unfairly targeted. For critics, it's a worrying sign that a movement accused of harassing foreigners and fueling xenophobia continues to gain traction and public sympathy. Human rights organizations have been quick to condemn the rhetoric coming out of the rally, warning that it risks inciting violence and deepening divisions between South Africans and migrant communities. Yet, in the township streets where unemployment is sky high and service delivery is failing, Dudula's message resonates powerfully. Many locals feel abandoned by the government, left to compete for scarce jobs and housing with people they believe should not be in the country without proper documentation. The Diepkloof Three, in their eyes, are not criminals but freedom fighters, willing to risk prison to speak up for the voiceless. Inside political circles, the debate is just as fierce. Opposition parties are seizing on the moment to criticize the ruling government's handling of immigration and border control, while also warning against mob justice. The ANC has remained cautious, reiterating that while the concerns of communities are valid, the rule of law must be upheld and vigilantism cannot be tolerated. What's certain is that this episode has breathed fresh momentum into Operation Dudula. The release of the Diepkloof 3 has become a rallying cry, with plans already being made for larger demonstrations in the coming weeks. Social media pages linked to the movement are flooded with calls to action, urging members to mobilize and push back against what they see as an orchestrated campaign to criminalize them. Meanwhile, foreign nationals living in affected communities are expressing fear and uncertainty. Some say they have already seen tensions rise since the news of the Diepkloof 3's release, with more confrontations expected. Others are pleading for the government to step in and ensure that law enforcement protects everyone equally, regardless of nationality. The stage is set for a tense and potentially volatile period ahead. With Operation Dudula emboldened, law enforcement vowing to maintain order, and political leaders struggling to strike the right balance between community concerns and human rights, South Africa finds itself once again grappling with a deep and dangerous fault line in its society. The question now is whether the calls to stop the arrests will lead to a de-escalation of tensions, or if they will instead pave the way for an even bigger confrontation between the state and the movement. Judging by the mood in Diepkloof after the three walked free, it seems Dudula is ready for a fight. Whether the country is ready for what comes next, however, is another matter entirely. If you've been following the story, let us know what you think. Were the Diepkloof 3 wrongfully arrested, or should the law be applied firmly regardless of the cause? And as always, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay safe.